Hi everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. So today I will be starting another reading vlog, and this is going to be about the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. And I've been really excited to get to this ever since, I want to say probably the last quarter of Legendary, when we first met the Fates. Because, as I'm sure most of you know, if you know anything about this book, one of our main characters is Jax. And as I said in the reading vlog for Caraval, since I met him, yes, like most people, I have been kind of obsessed with him. And I love how, so far at least, his personality has more or less stayed the same. So I have made it to part 2, which is 78 pages in, and I'm also very happy that we get the Enchanted North in here, or the Magnificent North, I'm sorry. Yeah, and I'm very excited to learn more about that and the magic system that's there. I do kind of feel like you need to read Spectacular before you get into this, just because Spectacular is where you really learn about the Magnificent North. And yeah, so in this book, we are following Evangeline Fox, and she is a 17-year-old girl who has become an orphan within the past few years, and she has a stepmother and stepsister, and we learn pretty quickly that her stepsister and her fiance slash boyfriend have now gotten engaged. And that is where this book opens. And yeah, that's really all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to spoil it too much. But I will say, so far, I am liking this a little more than Caraval. I feel like the writing style is not quite as flowery, but it is kind of like flowery enough. But it's also kind of like more darker. And yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying the kind of like darker undercurrents that are running through here. And I'm definitely enjoying the Fates more than I did enjoy the game of Caraval. And I'm very excited to get to the Magnificent North, because that is basically, well, that is what part 2 is called. And yeah, at the end of part 1, Evangeline has been sent there, and yeah, we are going to get to learn a lot more about the magic there, which sounds super interesting. You know, we have stories that cannot leave the North, and there's all this like story magic. And yeah, so like I said, I'm really loving this. I'm reading it really fast. I've been reading maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and was able to, like I said, get to page 77. And I just wanted to stop and kind of do this intro and give you all my first thoughts. I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I have to say, I really did enjoy this. It was a very quick read, a lot like Caraval. That was a very quick read as well. So far, I am enjoying this a lot more than Caraval. I feel like there's a lot more atmosphere in this one, and I just also feel like there's more action in this one, even though I do feel like the plot itself is kind of slow. I do feel like there's more action, if that kind of makes sense. And yeah, I'm definitely very excited to see where books 2 and 3 go, and how, Evangeline and Marisol and Jax all kind of come to interact and get to know each other, and like where everything goes. I do have to say there's one thing that I was kind of expecting, and it didn't work out quite the way I thought it would. And that was the whole thing with the 3 kisses. I figured each book would be 1 kiss, but apparently not. However, we are still waiting on 1. So that will be quite interesting to see how that works out, and how some other plot points have worked out that I won't spoil here. And I will say, once I come back with the Ballad of Never After and any updates on that, this will most likely become pretty spoilery. I will try to warn you beforehand if that does turn out to be the case. But I'm also just going to warn you right now, it probably will be. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to start that, and then get to the final book to just kind of see where this goes, how it all wraps up, and, learn some more about Evangeline. I do really like her as a character. But yeah, I'm going to get back to reading and update you all later. I'm on chapter 8 of The Ballad of Never After, and so far I'm really, really liking this, and I've really liked the rest of Stephanie Garber's books that I've read as well, so that didn't surprise me. But yeah, we jump right in from where the first book, A Curse for True Love, ended, and all I can say, and this is slight spoilers for the first book, but I had a feeling that Luke was going to come back and be a pain. And he is back, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be a pain. But yeah, I was definitely interested to see that, and interesting to see how all that goes. And we have now also at this point, I said that it says that there is some sort of curse, or secondary curse, I should say. And we have now found out what that is. And part of it I was not expecting, so I'll definitely be interested as well to see where that goes. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to get more into this and kind of see some more of Jax and Evangeline and all the other characters, and just see where things go after the ending of book 1 and what's happened so far in this. And I can say this one, I feel like, has more action than the first book did. Like, I didn't feel like the first book was boring, but I felt like most of the action was just, oh, let's find this out. And then, oh, so now we need to find this out. Whereas this one feels more like, let's actually do something. So yeah, definitely excited to get into it. So I'm about halfway through, actually a little over halfway through, The Ballad of Never After, and we are learning some more about Jax's past, or at least what we are led to very strongly suspect is his past, as well as learning more about some of the northern fairy tales and the story curse and all of that, which I'm finding really, really interesting. I'm really enjoying the world building in this trilogy, and I'm enjoying it, a lot more than the world building that was in the Caraval series. I feel like it's more dynamic. I feel like there's a lot more depth to it. And yeah, I'm definitely interested to see how everything comes together, because right now there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of characters, and a lot of it that seems separate, but I am sure it will be, all brought together at some point. And I'm definitely interested to see, like, what exactly happens going into the third book, because, with the first book, we have Jax requesting 3 kisses from Evangeline, and right now, she still owes 1. Like, I was expecting each book to basically be, like, centered around the 1 kiss, either, like, leading to who he wanted her to kiss, or, like, that would be the start, and then kind of, like, dives into why he wanted her to, what was in it for him and stuff. But, yeah, obviously that was not the case, because both kisses happened in book 1. And so far in this one, we are searching for 4 things. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure where it's all going to lead, but I'm definitely here for the ride. The Ballad of Never After ended on an absolutely huge cliffhanger, and I am extremely glad that I have a Curse for True Love so that I can start that very, very soon. But yeah, this definitely went in a direction I was not expecting, and I am really, really enjoying it. And I now have some theories about the fates as well, with a lot of what we have learned in this particular book. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing if I'm right and where certain parts play in, into the lore of this world, and whether or not what I'm thinking is true for all the fates or just a few of them. So yeah, definitely really excited to move on to the next book. I feel like, as with Caraval, this series is getting better with each book. And yeah, the only issue I really am seeing is that, again, very much like the Caraval trilogy, each book seems to kind of bring something else in, and so you still have things that are not tied up. And yeah, I'm not sure, like I said, how it's all going to work out in the third book, but it managed to work out pretty well in the Caraval trilogy, so hopefully it'll work out well in this trilogy. So I feel like I've been reading this series a lot faster than I did Caraval. Caraval, I think I read the first 2 books in January, then I took several months before I moved on to Finale. For this, I started with Once Upon a Broken Heart in late June, I believe, and then immediately went on to The Ballad of Never After, and then pretty much immediately went on to this one, which is A Curse for True Love. And I'm about halfway through it, and we are getting a whole lot of mysteries and everything, and we are getting a whole lot of information. However, I feel like the whole thing with Luke is just kind of played off, and I feel like he should have been a much bigger part of everything that happened, especially when we get into like the end of book 2 with him, or I should say the beginning of book 2 with him and the end of book 1. Like, I feel like he's got to have something to do with this stuff. Like, he's just kind of there. But yeah, and I am definitely interested to see who exactly Apollo turns out to be, because we didn't see a whole lot of him uncursed throughout the series. We met him for about 5 minutes, honestly, if that, before he was cursed. And yeah, it's definitely interesting to see everything and to kind of see who he really is, or what I'm thinking he really is. We don't really have a whole lot about him. And I do like that this is multi-POV. We have Evangeline, Apollo, and Jax, although it is mostly from Evangeline's point of view. And yeah, I've been reading this one very, very quickly. I read about half of it over the past like 2 or 3 days. But I don't feel like we're getting a whole lot of answers yet, to be perfectly honest. So I'm a little worried that the ending is going to feel very, very rushed. But I am still very interested to see how it all ends and if everybody can redeem themselves. And yeah, I'm going to try to finish the other half of this tonight, and I will report back. So I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart now, and I was kind of disappointed in the whole Luke storyline. I felt like he should have played a much bigger part, especially with him becoming the heir in book 2. Like, I just felt like there was a lot left there. Definitely not a huge fan of Apollo either, although I do feel like we never truly get to see him until this book, because, you know, there's not much interaction of him before the stunt that Jack pulls in book 1. So, yeah. Overall, while this isn't a bad series, I would not put it as one of my favorites, and I did feel like the ending was a little lackluster, although it definitely leaves an opening for there to be more books set in this world, and I would be interested to read those just to see if we get some of these plot lines resolved. But yeah, that is the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed. As always, let me know down in the comments, have you read this series? What did you think about it? Did you read Caraval? Did you like this more or less than Caraval? Always love hearing from you all. And don't forget to subscribe and like, and go ahead and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And I will see you next time.